Hey everyone, welcome back to Doozy Talks with Susie. And today we're going to talk about how I balanced my hormones. So, this is something I wished someone had explained to me years ago, and that's problems with my monthly cycle. I used to go months without a period, then maybe I'd spot for a few weeks, and then like it was just completely unpredictable, which was very stressful for me because I didn't know what was going on. Um, and I didn't really know who to talk to. And I know like common sense is go see your OBGYN about it. And I did. So if you've ever felt that way too, you're not alone. And if your body feels out of balance, it's probably not because you're broken. It might just be because of your genes. And let me explain. So when during my childhood, teen years, I would typically miss about 3 or more periods every year. And sometimes my cycles would be like 50 plus days, or I would spot for weeks. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? And then I would, you, I know that as a teenager, I know girls who have felt this way as too. I was kind of uncomfortable with the idea of going and seeing a doctor about it. Ladies, don't feel uncomfortable about seeing your doctor. Just make sure you ask a lot of questions and understand that they want you to be comfortable too. So if you feel uncomfortable, tell them like, "Oh, hey, I don't want to do this exam or whatever. Can we just talk?" And they will work with you. Trust me, they will. They're very respectful and amazing people. So at one point in my early 20s, I was like, well, at this point, I had dropped a couple of pounds. I dropped a few pounds, but I was originally at 215 pounds. I had missed 6 periods in a row. Finally, I had like a very brief period, and I had already set up an appointment to go see an OBGYN. I said, okay, something is definitely wrong. So I spoke to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, everything seems fine, but lose some weight, that'll help. And I told her, I was like, okay, I'm already working on that. I'm like, I've dropped a few pounds based on when you guys just weighed me now. Because at that point, when they weighed me, I was 206. So I was like, okay, I've lost some weight. We're making progress. And then she prescribed me some birth control. I didn't know anything about birth control. Like, I heard it was bad for you, but I was like, I need help. So if I need help, I need help, and I got to do what I got to do. So I started taking it. It regulated things, but I still felt off. And I was eventually, during that time, the one pro, and I think it's because it helped with stress. Like, it helped me stop stressing about what was going on. But I still felt off. And once I had lost a significant amount of weight, my body was starting to re-regulate, and I was able to come off of it, which is something you do with doctor's help. People don't just drop off of that stuff because it can cause problems. It helped control my cycle, but the truth is I felt uncomfortable about it because I didn't know what it was actually doing to my body. And I'd heard a lot of bad reports about using it. I was like, no, I got to figure this out myself. I want to figure out some natural way. And we need to rewind for a second, though, because there was a point in my later teen years when things were really starting to get out of control. Mind you, I was putting on weight regularly, and weight in the sense of fat. I wasn't exercising. So I was putting on a lot of weight. I was very inactive, barely moving around, doing stuff. And I did speak to a naturopathic doctor at the time. I don't remember how old I was. But like as I was noticing things getting more and more out of control, probably by the time I was like late teens, because then I went and saw a doctor in my early 20s, because I was like, this is just getting out of control. Late teens, she suggested some things I could do that would be natural, and that didn't quite, like, some of it worked, kind of, sort of, for a while, but it wasn't predictable like the birth control was. So then I went and saw the OBGYN, and she put me on birth control. I felt better. In my head, I felt better. In my body, I didn't necessarily. I went a little crazy on that one, but it regulated the cycle. So let's talk about the hormones for a second, though, because I used to mix these up all the time. I couldn't figure out which hormone was which, and I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. Maybe everybody else has it all figured out with the estrogen and progesterone and stuff. But the main two that we're going to talk about here is the estrogen and progesterone. And they both matter, but they both do very different things. And so estrogen is like the builder, and it helps build the uterine lining. It's what gives you energy and focus and the glow during your cycle. But too much estrogen or not clearing it well can cause all kinds of issues. Too much estrogen, it'll make long or irregular cycles, which I was dealing with, spotting between periods, PMS, mood swings, sore breast, bloating. I had it all. Like, trust me, it was miserable. And trouble sleeping or calming down, I also dealt with. Progesterone, on the other hand, is the balancer, and it calms us down. So progesterone shows up after you ovulate, and it balances the estrogen, helps regulate your cycle, calms your mood, helps you sleep. But if you don't ovulate, like in super long cycles, your body doesn't make much progesterone. And that's where the estrogen kind of takes over and starts causing chaos. And so let's talk about what was happening for me. So stuff like that. Hold on, let me fix this. I was making estrogen, but my body wasn't clearing it well. And because I wasn't always ovulating, it wasn't making progesterone to balance it out. And that's called estrogen dominance. And it was showing up in my life as like skipped periods, super long cycles, spotting for weeks on end. But I wasn't broken. I was just struggling to keep things balanced, and I couldn't figure out what exactly it was. And I mean, that's why I started doing the plant-based diet, because I heard of people who women would go plant-based and everything would be re-regulated for them. It wasn't working for me half the time. Like, it was still unpredictable. Most of the time I was okay, then something would be off, or it was just very inconsistent. But when I got my genes tested a few months ago, I found out I have a gene mutation called MTHFR. I'm not going to tell you what all those words are. I'm not going to tell you what all those words are. It stands for something else, but it affects how your body processes this vitamin called folate, which is needed to clear out used up hormones like estrogen. And estrogen isn't the only one. It's also dopamine as well. But because of this, my body wasn't breaking down estrogen efficiently. I also have a gene mutation called COMT, and it breaks down estrogen and dopamine, and which is the feel-good brain chemical. Mine is a little slower. So my body holds on to estrogen and stress longer than it should. I can't say normal because a lot of people have these mutations. So if I say it's longer than normal and you're like, what's normal? Normal is the setting on a dryer, people. That's all it is. I struggle to break it down. Like, that's what it is. So I started taking supplements that actually started working with my genetics instead of against them. And trust me, on my plant-based diet, I was trying to get folate, but I was getting like folic acid, and I found out folic acid because I would find things that are like my the protein powder. I would get it in the form of folic acid. It would be in my protein powders. And you'll find it in protein powders as well. If you look at the back of your container, it'll have folic acid, which is vitamin B9, but it's like the chemical version. Or you might see cyanocobalamin, which is B12. But if your body doesn't know how to use vitamin B12, then you don't know it's not going to function. It's not going to work in your body. Your body won't know what to do with it. Or it'll just break it down much slower, which means you're going to struggle to have it like you need. So I started taking supplements like 5-MTHF, which is the usable form of folate. methylated B12. So that's not the cyanocobalamin. There's two versions. I do the methylcobalamin, but there's another one as well. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. I also use TMG and magnesium and a good multivitamin with active B vitamins. And you got to look at the back of your multivitamin. Um, I use one that's like mostly plants in it. Like they use plants to put together the vitamin, and then they add in the methylated B vitamins for me. So here's what happened. Once I started supporting my methylation, my periods kind of regulated on their own. No more 50-day cycles, no more spotting. I wasn't forcing the cycle to work with me or work the way it's supposed to work with the birth control anymore. And my body was actually syncing up naturally, which I don't know about other ladies, but that's like takes a load of stress off of me because even that was giving me anxiety because I wasn't sure, like, is my body going to do what it's supposed to do or is it not? Am I sick? Because what the original doctor, the naturopathic doctor, was suggesting I use was working most of the time, but not consistently. And if it's not working all the time, then I'm going, what am I missing? Switching over to this, life changing, guys, life changing. So this is, I just wish someone had told me that your period isn't just random and it's a vital sign. It tells you what's going on inside of your body. And if it's irregular, missing, or painful, it doesn't mean you're dramatic or broken. It just means your body needs some support. And if I had known about my genes earlier, I wouldn't have spent so many years confused and frustrated because I'm about to be 31, people. And I'm over here trying to figure out for like the past, what are we coming up on? Almost 20 years, more than 15 years, trying to figure out what's going on with my body. And seeing this doctor and then that doctor and then talking to this person and then studying that and trying to figure things out. And it's that your body is designed to be able to break these things down naturally and create these hormones naturally. And if you give your body the support it needs to be able to create those hormones and break the hormones down the way it's supposed to be, you just got to give your body that little boost and it'll function naturally and normally the way it should. I thought I had to like take all these like fancy supplements and do this and do that and take the special medications and then everything was going to work out for me. I mean, you could try that if you want to, but my understanding now is you give your body what it needs in order that your body can produce its own the hormones on its own, the way it was naturally designed. Like, my strong belief is that God made our bodies so that it can function at optimal levels. Our bodies have this thing called DNA, and it's not always working the way it needs to. RNA, all of those things. And we have to do what we got to do to make sure that our body can function naturally. And yeah, our bodies are so unique and wonderfully made. It's incredible. So, but okay, all that to say, you don't need to be afraid of your body. You just need to understand it. And if you're struggling with hormones, your mood, or your cycle, look into your genetics. It could explain so much. I have not felt so like emotionally leveled out in my life. And it's amazing. So you don't actually even have to fix it all at once. Start small, start with the support. Realize you're not broken, you're just built a little differently, and that's okay because you can help yourself and you can give your body, it's all about giving your body the support that it needs. And if you want me to talk more about genes, how they affect mood, anxiety, or even how I reacted to birth control, drop a comment below or hit subscribe. This is a space for healing, learning, and grace. We're just over here learning. We're learning how the body works, what these gene mutations actually mean for us. And we're going to keep making videos, people. It's going to be amazing. And like I said, drop a comment. If you have questions, thoughts, please let me know and get your genes tested, people. I'm not over here trying to sell anything. I'm not affiliated with anybody. I'm just telling you what works for me. That's why I'm not putting any special brands out there of what I use, because there's nothing in it for me. I just want to give you guys all the help I can, because it was so hard struggling through life the past 30 years trying to figure out how my body is working and what I can do to support it. So drop a comment, hit a subscribe. You can like it if it was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.